Seminary is not something I would have really considered before I was done with school. That was it. That's all I wanted to do. It's funny how things change. I grew up in a Christian home. I went to Bob Jones University in South Carolina, and that's where I met my husband. We moved to Apex, North Carolina for a youth ministry position because he always said he wanted to be the world's oldest youth pastor. We were here for about a year when we had our daughter, Olivia Grace McCaskill. About 5 weeks after my daughter was born, my husband was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and it was terminal. He went through treatments, but he had a lot of complications. And 10 months after he was diagnosed, he passed away. And I was just broken. I was shattered. But I don't think I was at my lowest point yet. I had a fear of Grace having a seizure because my husband had had so many when he was sick, and they were terrifying to me, and I had nightmares about them for years. And a while later, she did end up having a seizure, and so they ended up wanting to do an MRI to look for a brain tumor. I felt like I was having an Abraham and Isaac moment where when I laid her on the MRI table, like I was laying my whole life there. This was my lowest point that I had got to. He had everything at this point. And in his grace and mercy, he allowed Grace to be fine and to recover from what she was struggling with. But I was never the same from that moment. God showed me how I saw him, because I saw him as someone that was angry with me, that somehow all of this that was happening was my fault, and that if I had just done more, if I could have just been a better person, then this wouldn't have happened. And through all of these painful experiences, he broke those impressions down to where really I had nothing left. And he built up truth that was solid, that wouldn't change, that wasn't going to go away the next time something bad happened. I wasn't going to be shaken again. I knew that. I was confident of what he was doing in my heart. As Grace was getting older, she was getting to the point where I started realizing she really needs me to guide her spiritually. I finally had to admit that this was God's will for my life, that he sovereignly ordained for me to be a single mom and to be the spiritual head of our household. And so that's when the Lord brought seminary into my mind. So my first class I enrolled for was Old Testament with Dr. McCaskill. It was really providential. I realized that I was like Israel. I was rebellious against him. I wanted to hang on to my idols. And yet, all this time, all these things that I thought at first were his chastisement and his not caring about me was actually his faithful pursuit of me and his love for me, because he wasn't going to let me go. And I'd worked through so many things to show that he is sovereign over everything, and he will stop at nothing to accomplish his purpose. Right now, I know my first responsibility is to disciple my daughter, and I feel more equipped now than I did before, definitely, and I hope I can continue that. And just to share the truth that I'm getting, not to let it stop at me, but to share with other people about what Christ has done. I had the experience where I felt like I might lose my daughter, but to willingly give your son, and not for lovely people, but for broken people and shattered people. That's what I want to share. the hope that I didn't see for a long time, but now I do. And I'm so thankful to Shepherds for being a part of that.